Welcome to I hope you're doing good. You're doing great from whatever corner of the world that you're watching Celeb Corner KE from. And as of right now, we are diverging deep into a story that was currently exposed by the Nation Media Group. And it is a story that is currently spreading like a burning bush, a story in regards to Kenyans who have lost an amount of about 720 million Kenyan shillings as they seek jobs in Germany. And this money has not been lost to residents or maybe people or citizens from Germany. The money has been lost to agents in Kenya who are linked direct to the government of the Republic of Kenya and who are linked to President William Ruto. One of the men is none other than Dennis Itumbi, and the other one is a man by the name of Gisharu. Itumbi has reacted to this news. But before we start speaking about how Itumbi has reacted and whatever is going on, allow me to take you down the storyline and how everything went down so that we will get to the discussion part later. It is a very long story. The name of Ceaser Wagicheru King'ori, alias Shrewd, it first cropped up in August last year during an investigation into a 600 million jobs racket linked to a flashy city pastor. At the time, the focus of the probe was Mr. James Wajohi of Jesus Culture Ministries, which is, I think, in Kahawa Square, who was accused of collecting millions of shillings from thousands of job seekers for overseas jobs that never materialized. Those who paid Mr. Wajohi with fees ranging between 100,000 to 140,000 each were subsequently slapped with visa bans by Canadian Embassy in Kenya after their application were found to have falsified information. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations DCI has since forwarded files to the Director of Public Prosecution DPP, recommending Mr. Wajohi's prosecution alongside another suspect, Mr. Alphonse Kioko of Humble Beginning Consult, who is also accused of defrauding thousands of job seekers, an amount of 890 million Kenyan shillings. Continuing. Pastor James Wajohi of Christian Ministries in Roysambu, Nairobi County, the pastor was the founder of WorldStart Africa, a recruitment agency. Now, in the course of this investigation by the Nation Media Group, there were also complaints against Mr. Kingori, then a budding job recruiter. But most of his victims who had come forward subsequently declined interviews, citing promises that they would get referrals. However, they never got their cash back, and instead, the complaints against Mr. Kingori and his firm, Vintmark Travel Agency Limited, have been mounting at the DCI. At the DCI. Now, Vintmark operates from Kenidia House on Loita Street in Nairobi's Central Business District. Mr. Kingori's emissaries told the media he was contemplating refunding the money to his victims, adding that the publication of this story would dampen upcoming recruitment drives, especially with new openings coming up in Germany where he is hiring allocations from the government. Now, the nation combed through hundreds of witness statements filed at DCI by Kenyans and foreigners who complain they have collectively lost close to 720 million Kenyan shillings after they bought into the firm's marketing strategies on TikTok and other social media platforms. In the world of employment agencies, Mr. Kingori is nicknamed Shrewd, perhaps given his aggressiveness to position himself close to power and push through his business interest. Although he was not officially part of the delegation that accompanied President William Ruto to Germany to sign labor agreements, he found his way to Berlin during the presidential visit on September 13th and 14th. Are we together till there? And Mr. Kingori even posed for a photo with Labour Cabinet Secretary Alfred Mutua, and on the sidelines of the signing of the Comprehensive Migration and Mobility Partnership Agreement between Kenya and Germany, which President Ruto explained provides various pathways for Kenyans to work and train in Kenya and Germany. Do you remember a few days ago when this story broke out? It was a story that was so magnitude to the people of the Republic of Kenya, and mostly after the Germany embassy in Kenya denied that their job openings in Germany, about 250 jobs or 250,000 jobs for Kenyans. Now, besides Dr. Alfred Mutua, others who accompanied the president were Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and the ODM leader Raila Odinga, who is Kenya's candidate for the chairmanship of the African Union Commission (AUC). Now, and while he was hobnobbing with the Kenyan leaders at meetings in Germany on overseas jobs, he had left a trail of victims of his job's racket back home, where investigators summoned him for questioning but ended up complaining he was becoming untouchable. Hmm? Listen to that statement, that the guy was becoming what? Untouchable. It has reached a point now that Mr. Kingori has become elusive. When he was summoned last week by an investigator to record more statement after another group emerged claiming Vintmark has scammed them, he responded to the investigating officer that he was in Germany. He went ahead to share his photo with the cabinet secretary, Mr. Njero Diga, Nairobi Region Criminal Investigations Officer, told the media in an interview last week. I plan to have a meeting with CS Mutua and explain to him how deep the fraud is in the recruitment agencies and the tangible interventions that need to be effected with speed because the trade is worrying, Mr. Diga added. Now, contacted Dr. Mutua told the media on Friday that agents of recruitment firms who were part of the delegation to Germany paid their own tickets after making a request to the government. Listen, and I shall quote this. Many recruitment agents traveled to Berlin to witness the signing of the bilateral labor agreement, connect with German employment companies, and to network. For those that asked us, they wanted to also be in Berlin and make contacts. We said, Sawa, okay. All these agents paid their own fare. Recruitment agents who flew from Kenya or who are resident in Germany were over 50. Dr. Mutua explained, and he promised to look into the matter touching on Vintmark Travel Agency Limited and the numerous claims of fraud. After the Berlin visit, Mr. Kingori's company posted job openings in Germany, citing a presidential directive, a strategy set to lure more desperate job seekers to these Ponzi scheme. Flight bookings. Kenya has signed a deal to allow 250,000 both skilled and semi-skilled Kenyans to work in Germany. Let us make your dreams of traveling abroad to work, study, live, visit, or travel come true. Our services include visa application, flight bookings, flight reservations, job placement, and passport applications. Let's start your application process today. Vintmark Travel Agency Limited posted on their Instagram account. Now, the nation obtained a statement by victims who were tired of waiting for jobs that never materialized. They have reported the case to police and want Mr. Kingori to refund their money. Ms. Madediso Dulovo, 37 years, is a driver based in Pretoria, South Africa. Ms. Dulovo found out about Vintmark through TikTok and Facebook on January 12, 2024. Between January 11th and January 14th, he had wired 15,000 rupees, which is equal to 130,000 Kenyan shillings, to Ms. Catherine Wairemo Mogo, who is one of the directors of Vintmark. Ms. Glovo was promised a caregiver job in the United Kingdom with a monthly salary equivalent to 40,000 rands, which is equal to 390,000 Kenyan shillings, according to a statement. Now, she was promised that the documentation would take 90 days after making the payment. But after wiring the money to Vintmark, Dulovo was blocked from accessing the agency's social media pages. Frustrated, she reached out to Equity Bank Kenya, through which she had made the payment, seeking to cancel the transaction. the bank wrote to Vintmark, but since early this year, she is yet to receive her money back. I hope to get justice done to me and others outside there, Lovu says in a statement to police. Now, Miss Siminsira Mindiga is a Congolese and asylum seeker in South Africa in mid-October 2023. He told detectives at Nairobi area he heard from people in South Africa about a Kenyan company known as Vintmark that was seeking job seekers for employment in Canada. Hmm? Searched online. Now, they say I searched online and found a traveling consultant by the name Rispa Kwamboka on TikTok. I chatted with her and she told me that they required a passport, family, and academic documents. I therefore traveled to Congo to process my passport. Mr. Mediga Mr. Mediga has told investigators on March 11th, 2024, he flew into Kenya and visited Vintmark offices at Kennedy House. He says he found Ms. Kwamboka who told him to pay 150,000. Mr. Mediga paid the cash in installment starting off with 20,850 and was issued with receipt numbers 516 and 518. On March 15th, 2024, he paid another 109,000 Kenyan shillings in 3 installments and was given receipt numbers 569, 570, and 571. On March 22, 2024, he paid the balance of 20,000 in cash captured under receipt number 615. Ever since, Mr. Midiga has been camping at the DCI offices seeking a refund and a letter to confirm that he is not in Kenya illegally. Although he fears deportation, he has insisted he will not leave Kenya until he recovers his money. Mr. Samuel Kamondo, a medical laboratory technologist, found out about Vintmark through TikTok in February this year. Mr. Kamondo, he says he engaged the firm's influence and agent by the name of Samuel Gidoi, who informed him they had job openings in Canada. On March 14th, 2024, Mr. Kamondo visited Vintmark offices in Nairobi, where Mr. Gidoi took him through various job openings in Canada. He was assured of a driver's job and asked to pay 150,000 Kenyan shillings, which he eventually paid. On April 26th this year, Mr. Kamondo went for biometric capture at the Canadian embassy only to realize that the agent had applied for him a visitor's visa instead of a work visa. Worse still, in an error that he believes was deliberate to scuttle the visa application, the agent had indicated that Mr. Kamondo was a female. If he is yet to get a refund from it, quoting him, my visa application had a lot of mistakes, which I came to know were made deliberately for me to get a denial. For example, my gender was changed to female, and at the end of the day, I got a denial and the agent refused to refund my money, Kamondo told the media. When I visited Vintmark offices for my refund, the manager informed me that I should bring someone to continue with the process of visa application so that they can refund me the money. But I refused because it was a way of using me to commit another crime, Kamondo added. Mr. Paul Mbatia from Kiambu is asthmatic and epileptic. He got to know about Vintmark through an advertisement on social media on May 25th this year. He contacted the firm and was promised a work visa and a caregiver's job in Canada. He parted with the 150. A few days after paying the money, Mr. Mbatia was admitted to a Kiambu hospital. He informed Vintmark that his health had worsened and wanted a refund. The refund is still pending. Ms. Mary Wangari, 34, a Red Cross volunteer. Wangari got to know about Vintmark through TikTok on November 27, 2023. On December 18th, she visited Vintmark. She was promised a caregiver in the United Kingdom, but she had to pay 150,000 with a promise of getting a work visa within 90 days. Wangari lost 150,000 and the persistent demands for a refund saw her blocked from accessing the company's social media pages. Now, these are among the victims of Vintmark with documents in our possession showing how its employees and directors mislead jobless Kenyans and foreigners to pay millions for non-existent jobs. Even with the rise in complaints and a DCI investigation, Vintmark is still in the good books of the National Employment Authority (NEA). the regulator. When the media reached out to Ms. Andy Dokoki, the NEA Director General, for a comment on why Vintmark continues to operate despite many reported cases of fraud and non-existent jobs, she responded that they had already written to the firm's directors seeking answers to issues raised. We are aware of the issues raised against Vintmark Travel Agency, and we wrote a letter to them this week so that they respond to complaints raised. We have given them 7 days. If they don't, we will cancel their license, Ms. Okoki told the media last week. Now, Vintmark Travel Agency Limited is owned by Mr. Kingori, who has 1,666 ordinary shares. He is listed as a shareholder and a director. According to details of ownership in a CR 12 generated at the Register of Companies, but Mr. Kingori yesterday denied being a shareholder. He said, I'm not a shareholder at Vintmark Travel Agency. We do visa facilitation. Kingori changed. Other listed directors are Catherine Wairimu Mogo, Caroline Wanja Mureithi with 1,668 and 1,666 shares, respectively. Ms. Wairimu and Ms. Wanja and another lady identified as Grace Wamoho Njohi also owned Vithood Travel Agency. According to a search at the Register of Companies, Ms. Wairimu and Ms. Wanja are listed as directors, while Ms. Wamoho is listed as a secretary. Later arrested. Now, documents seen by the media show that on June 25th this year, the DCI Nairobi area had placed a stop order against Ms. Wairimu and Ms. Wanja to ensure that they did not leave the country. They were arrested and later released on a police board. But desperate jobless Kenyans and foreigners continue to fall for employment scams by agencies that fleece them of their money. Mr. Kioko's humble beginning consultant on Frank and Carp and Miss Anna Kaniu of Travel and Tours Limited are among those under investigation. Files at the DCI headquarters along Kiambu Road and DCI Nairobi area detail complaints by thousands of job seekers against Mr. Kioko's firm. Investigators believe, based on their preliminary investigation, his victims have lost upwards of 890 million. Before setting up Ambo Beginning Consultant, Mr. Kioko had Frank and Carp that operated from Nairobi and eventually folded. To demonstrate his intricate web of job scams, the DCI on August 13, 2024, wrote to the Interpol Nation Central Bureau requesting information on numerous companies that Mr. Kioko claimed he was recruiting on their behalf. With rising complaints and heat from the industry regulator, Mr. Kioko stopped recruiting directly and instead started working with questionable travel agencies that left jobless Kenyans in tears. He teamed up with Miss Kaniu, who is the director and founder of Nairobi-based Trevaron Travel and Tours Limited. Kenyans were lured with promises of jobs in the United Kingdom, and they paid close to 210 million to Miss Kaniu. Detectives investigating Mr. Kioko and Miss Kaniu allowed the media to peruse through the bank statement of Trevaron Travel and Tours Limited and a humble beginning consultant. Immediately, the money was paid to Trevaron account. Ms. Kaniu would wire part of the money to Mr. Kioko's company and personal bank accounts. He would, in turn, immediately withdraw the cash. Currently, the accounts have a balance of less than 1,000 Kenyan shillings. Now, charging labor laws. Let's look at these. Mr. Kioko last Thursday blamed changing UK labor laws for the failure to secure the jobs. He could not commit whether his victims will get a refund. I have stopped recruiting and am now into visa facilitation, Mr. Kioko told the media. Now, Ms. Modoni told Nation she should not be blamed for the saga because she sent the money to Mr. Kioko, who had promised her he had job openings in Germany and the United Kingdom. She could not explain why she never did due diligence before collecting money from the public. Modoni told the Nation that when she noticed that Mr. Kioko was not genuine, she started refunding some of her victims. However, When Nation asked her to provide evidence of the refunds, she referred us to a lawyer who insisted she could not share material that is part of investigation. For Mr. Wajoi's victims who lost 600 million for non-existent jobs in Canada, Australia, United Kingdom, and other European countries are still waiting for justice. Mr. Wajoi operates firms with different names including What's That Africa, What's That Travel Agency, and What's That Barista Technical Institute. Now, these are some of the stories that have been trending. These, imagine somebody pays for a for a flight ticket to Germany so that they will accompany the president to Germany and then go on the delegation that is with the president. They go there, take photos, yeah, pretend how close they are with the president, and then they go ahead to swindle money from Kenyans. Tell me that somebody within the government of President William Ruto doesn't have the intel or does not facilitate these scams that are happening all over the country. Niambie ni uongo. Niambie. Confirm to me. I want to read a certain tweet that has been published by Maverick Aoko on a Twitter account in regards to this story, so that tukiendelea tukuwe tunajua tunaelekea wapi. Aoko today morning published something that caught my attention. She said, here we go. In August of last year, the Kenyan owner of Mobile Kitchen Swahili, one Kevin Lonyona, was accused by the AG of Washington for stealing his employees' wages for years. He not only took away their tips, he paid them less than the minimum wage and gazed his employees, fellow African immigrants. A month later, Baba Chalin, or President William Ruto, was in US and visited the restaurant, took photos with the fraudster owner, and heaped confetti on both business and proprietor as an embodiment of what Kenya Kwanza stands for. But recently, he was in Germany and told us about 250k jobs. No, newega. We all want opportunity, especially in the diaspora. Turns out, someone in government is using fraudster Kingori, alias Shrewd, to dupe Kenyans seeking those Germany opportunities. He owns Vintmark travel agencies, tweeted at Kinedia House, Loita Street. So far, he called job seekers close to 800 million. How did he find himself in Berlin? And even took photo with Ruto's delegation there, including CS Labour Alfred Mutua. Why is this regime embracing fraudsters? Finland and Canada victims are still nursing woes, and the perpetrators are shielded by the same government. Hii serikali inataka aje na wanyonge? Watuambie leo tujue. That is what Aoko said. Now, back to one Dennis Itumbi, a friend to President William Ruto. Replying to this story, he went ahead to take pictures of the publication by the Nation Media Group, and he made it clear. And he made it clear through a post through his social media platforms. I shall read it so that we get the deep understanding of this. Dennis Itumbi posted and said that this is a magazine, or let me say, how should I put it? This is a media that is trying to taint the name of who? President William Ruto. Listen to what he said. A newspaper with a misleading headline that intentionally distort a noble initiative, stoking negative fires for no good reason. The story and the headline are worlds apart. A nation journalism slowly folding to the gutter. Bomboclat. This man, I tell you, he is an example of what we don't need in this country right now. A man that will use words to try and shred the truth. Tell me how we should believe people like Dennis Itumbi are of the betterment of this nation. While he posted this, one Anwar Sadat commented and said, Mr. Kingori is a conman who is protected by individuals within the government. The Daily Nation is simply saying that while he had no legitimate reason to be in Germany, the associate of the conman in government carried him to Germany anyway at taxpayers' expense. And I really think that's what really happened. I shall remind you of one, Zahir Jahada, was also a suspect in one of the many cases in the country of gold scams. This man currently is a member of parliament, a great friend of President William Ruto, and that is what will be of this Kingori if he isn't stopped. Now, let social media to bring people into this scam. Once you are convinced through the social media that they are legit, you don't have questions to ask. These people make you believe that they are there to save the world for you. Listen, they are not only stealing from Kenyans, they are stealing even from foreigners. You have heard of Dulovo from South Africa. You have heard of the other one from Congo. Wanatumia TikTok. TikTok is a world nini application, and once your video goes viral, whether what they post, if it goes viral, it's seen by people from different countries all over the world. And most of those countries are countries within the continent of Africa, where we know job opportunities are so rare nowadays. So these people believe into these scams and they fell victims of these scams, ndio wanajipata wanapoteza pesa zao. What is your take? Who do you think is the great facilitator of these scams? Because you can't tell me that these people, all of them, have been stealing close to billions, and some of them have stolen billions. Zile tunajua ni hizi 700, 600, sijui 890. Hizo ndizo tunajua. They have stolen billions of money from Kenyans. Who do you think is the beneficiary of this con that these people have been carrying on in this country for a very long time? Alafu nikukumbushe, hawa watu wakipeleka hawa watu majuu, wanawapelekanga huko with the promise of better jobs. So wakienda huko wanafanya hizo makazi, wengine hata wale ufanikiwa kwenda huko, watu huwa wanapigwa huko, they are mistreated, they face racial discrimination, wengine hata wanauawa. Yet these agencies don't care about the people they took there. They care about the money that they get while sending you there. Nakamilisha, make sure umesubscribe.